When this video is up, the old version of Jaguar King will already be defunct. The point of this video then is to introduce the game, and then comment on how and why I plan to rebuild it by 2021. In the description below, I have a link to more development notes and graphics on my Facebook author page. So this game began as the final project for the 2016 coding course I had taken, one that I can proudly say involved as much anthropological research as it did coding. The front page here offers a menu for the teams to select, listing the culture and its leader among the various options. And I based them on the civilizations of the 14th century between Mexico and Guatemala, the time and space, the setting for this game. So clicking on one of the items, at least for now, starts the gameplay, gets us right into the battle scene. To lead into today's mask, I will be playing as the Chichimecs from the northern and western lands beyond the Great Kingdoms. My team appears at bottom right. The server randomly chose the units for this level, but the plan will be to strategically build your team from cities and conjurations. Also at upper left comes another randomly selected team, here the Purhepecha of West Mexico. And I built this game in the MERN platform, the Mongo database, Express middleware, React display, and Node server. So I may have some technical notes and jargon kind of here and there. This was a full stack project delivering both the data to control and the view for their display. I wanted the entire game to be driven with Native American art from Mesoamerica. Units and graphics come mostly from Codex art, but others are from my own photography. Even the landscape, the ground on which which the teams are set, comes from a photo I took at the Cerrito archaeological site in the Mexican state of Querétaro. Every team has common and special units, including one animal type unique to each group. Inspired by Master of Magic, one of my all-time favorite computer games, Jaguar King combines military and magical strategy, with units that can hurl spears, cast spells, or swing weapons. The battle scenes are turn-based, with options to move units or cast spells in a single go, for example. The side window shows unit stats such as group count, hit points, special abilities, projectile attacks, spell castings, and so on. It also lists abilities including whether the unit is capable of afflicting or receiving them. You can see that the cursor may change upon action type, such as the kind of magic spell to cast. Footprints indicate available movement, and the Maquawit sword notes hand-to-hand combat options. The Muieri wand from the Huichol appears for magical bolts to strike upon enemies. I also have some sample spell lists. This is also a work in progress. It doesn't really look in its top form, and there's a lot of restructuring, a lot of rearranging to do here. But I wanted to at least show some sample spells that I plan to implement for the game, especially for the combat levels. Some of these spells are literal translations of indigenous phrases. Turn eyes, for example, is translated from the Nahuatl te Ixcuepa, to deceive, in this case to bewilder an enemy unit. Spells will be available by degrees of research and amounts of Zaki to use the Otome concept of power. The bottom of the screen also logs the last action by either side, my attempt at keeping track of who's done what. I know this needs animation, which will help smooth the gameplay and just make it easier to follow. When units are slain, they don't just disappear from the field either. I plan an option to reanimate bodies so they can keep biting to hold the enemy back. The wait button is meant to figure out which units haven't finished their moves, but it doesn't work consistently, so it will need repair. So still a lot of work remains for Jaguar King to be fully functional, including the signal of actually winning. And this is only the battle scene. A full game follows the 4X model: exploitation, exploration, expansion, and extermination. Civilization is the best known example of this game game model. So the question for me is, should I make this open source? I plan to redesign the code in React context and hooks to make the gameplay easier to cycle. I will also be weighing which server language would be the most effective because Node can load slowly. As the new version progresses, I share links to the code repository and working game in the description below. So I was thinking about making this open source so that other people can contribute to the code and may also provide input on better ways to improve the playability, the functionality, just the overall fun with building and making the game. So those are my remarks about Jaguar King for now. So I will conclude this video with today's mask. Today's mask comes from a ceramic miniature at the Museum of Fine Arts, Houston. I had shot this work and modified the image in order to create the Masked Warrior, a special unit for the Chichimec team I was just playing. Here is a public domain photo from the museum's website. I will include a link in the description below. Ideas for this unit type came from the Yaqui and Huichol, two West Mexican cultures that traditionally wore carved masks or facial paint to embody sacred powers in ritual dance. Art historians have made a similar interpretation for this piece, which the museum calls a Deity Impersonator. It comes from the West Mexican state of Colima, during the period of the shaft tomb cultures, which I had just presented in my last episode. Part of a removable helmet, the mask itself resembles an alligator or caiman, which often appears in Mesoamerican myths of the creation of space-time. I sought to convey the mask's primal power through an action unit that could cast a few spells of its own during battle. It is my hope that once Jaguar King is ready to go live, you will enjoy playing it as much as I did making it. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Eye of the Serpent channel for updates. Your Patreon support goes toward travel, research, and production. Thank you for watching, and good roads.